What's up, guys? Chris and Sam here from Mainly Mesh. Field Friday. This week we're going to be focusing on our first defensive tutorial, and we're going to be focusing specifically on playing defense on midfield dodges down the alley. This is something that, forewarning you guys, a lot of coaches have different opinions on. So this is just the way I personally have learned it, and the way that makes the most sense to me. And hopefully you guys are going to enjoy. Let's get to it, big boy.
Yeah.
When you're playing defense from the midfield position and you're trying to push your man down the alley, the biggest mistake we see a lot of kids do is twofold. The first mistake people make is they're too far away from their defender, from their offender. So what this allows Sam to do is it allows him to get a full run up on me, and I'm sitting here for the whole 5 steps in a flat-footed position, and I'm not able to explode with him because he already has 5 or 10 or 15 miles an hour of speed on me. And I'm expected to jump from the stationary position into a 15-mile-an-hour sprint from a standstill, which isn't possible. The second thing we see is if Sam backs up again, we see people, and this is the one you guys have probably heard your coaches say to you before, they're not pushing the offender one way or the other. So right now, I'm kind of flat-footed, and Sam can very, very easily get top side of me. The one goal of a defender playing a dodge from the midfield is to not allow the offender to get top side. If Sam can bring his dodge down and get top side, you see now his angle is increasing, and he can draw multiple slides from areas that we don't want him drawing a slide from. We're drawing a slide from the crease man, perhaps, or maybe the defense is going into a bailout adjacent slide. That's just not what we want. So we want Sam going down the middle. So I'm sure you guys have heard your coaches say, force him down the side. And what you guys will do is you turn your body. You want your hips pointed towards the side where you want Sam to go. But this is only the first step, and this is where, to me, a lot of coaches have a disconnect. If I'm standing here and I'm still giving Sam this 5-yard run-up, he can attack my top foot like we've talked about in our other dodging videos with a full run-up, and now I'm braking. He can break that back down the side, or it's much easier for him to get top side because, once again, we have that speed discrepancy. So if Sam is 5 yards away and I'm like this is just as bad as me being flat-footed, because another thing Sam can do since he's high up is if Sam just walks towards the middle of the field, oh shoot, I didn't do anything to stop that because he's 5 yards ahead of me. So the way I was taught, and the only way that's really made sense for me, is you want your top foot to be all the way up to the dodger's bottom foot. So if Sam does a little look down at his feet now, so you can see his feet, and now look at my feet, my top foot is all the way up to Sam's bottom foot. And now this seems really aggressive because you're like, oh my gosh, he's going to beat me down the alley. Well, where do you want your guy to beat you to? Down the alley. Because what that does is it allows your defense to know where they're sliding from earlier in the dodge and to know exactly when to fire, because they'll be able to see in this one specific dodge whether or not your man has an extra step. They only have to worry about one thing. Only one guy is worried about being hot. The 2 slide knows that he's going to be the 2 slide. You're allowing your defense to have the time to recover. So by getting here, Sam now only has one option. If he tries to go top side here, I'm there. And not only am I there, I'm there with my whole body pushing him back, right? So my stick, this is another little caveat. We want the stick to be top side. We want the stick to be high so that Sam can't just run past my top hand and I can't get a good punch in there. So we want our stick top side. The other thing, and what I'll see is kids have this. So Sam right now is pretty far out. We're about 15 yards away from the cage. So what an offender might do is back it up even further to get me away. In my little coaching book, I say follow him, because the worst thing that happens here is that he beats you really early, and we have all the time in the world to slide, because Sam still isn't, even though I haven't moved, I'm 5 yards behind him, Sam still isn't, this blue mark here is the 12-yard mark. Sam isn't dangerous for another 10 yards, which is allowing my defense a whole 10 yards to set up their slide and set up their two slide and everything else. The final step is once you get him down the side, your goal is to keep him there and not allow him to roll back topside. So I'm here, Sam gets down the alley, I'm with him, and it's one of those things you're not that worried about pushing him out per se. You don't want him to be able to get his shoulder inside of you and get in front of you, because now he has a straight line to the goal. But as he's going down the side, you obviously want to get that first jam in. And then from here, the only other thing I'm worried about is if Sam goes for a shot, I'm here with my stick with this lift to get it up, right? So the only other way you can kind of put yourself in a coffin here is if when I go for this lift, I bring my whole body around, because now Sam, as he's about to do and as he's wanting to do because he's a natural offensive player, Sam rolls here, and now I'm toast, right? So that's kind of a step we don't really have to worry about now. But basically, rule of thumb, you want your hips parallel with the alley, okay? Or, yeah, parallel with the alley. You want your top foot at the offender's bottom foot so that you're nice and high. You're not letting him get top side. You're going to make sure, if anything, he goes underneath down the alley, because that's where our slide's going to be. Stick in the top side. Is there anything else I've forgotten, Sam?
No, it sounds good to me.
Sweet.
For this basic video, yeah, sounds great.
So we'll do a few speed shots mixed in now, but overall, thanks so much. Catch you guys next time.